South Africa's labor absorption now currently sits at about 36%, which is far below emerging markets at 60%. And unfortunately, the people that pay for this are ordinary South Africans.
South Africa's jobs bloodbath continues, with new data released this week revealing that unemployment has gone up yet again. Joining me to discuss the impact on South Africa's economy is Bheki Mahlobo. He is an economic analyst in the CRA team. But before we jump into this video, just a quick reminder, if you enjoy our content, we release new videos every weekday morning at 7 a.m. So if you find this interesting, please do be sure to hit that subscribe button as well as the bell icon to be alerted whenever we release a new video. So Bheki, what is the data telling us? What does it reveal about the labor market conditions at the moment?
Yeah, David, unfortunately, it has been a bloodbath indeed. If you recall, a few months ago, we stated that South Africa is a trend outlier when we compare to other countries. Instead of seeing an improvement in our unemployment numbers, we've actually seen an increase in the number of people unemployed in the country. When you take the third quarter of 2019 and you compare to the third quarter of this year, we've seen an increase of about 2 million people unemployed in the country. That's a 409,000 increase in the number of people unemployed compared to the third quarter of last year. Now, the main contributing factor to this, David, is largely due to the July rise, which have had a negative impact on trade and manufacturing sector in the country.
Enjoying this analysis? Click here to sign up for our 30-day free trial for more content from the CIA.
All right, Bheki, and so the headline figure is that unemployment on the official definition is now just under 35%, which I think is the highest it's ever been. Yes. But that's the official definition, but there's an expanded definition as well. Do you care to elaborate on that for our audience?
The number of people that are in the expanded category are now sitting at 12.5 million people. A great proportion of those South Africans have been unemployed for more than 1 year, and the country now has a youth unemployment level of about 77%. That's a huge risk there, David, as a great proportion of South Africans are unable to acquire income in order to sustain themselves and their families, which does pose significant risks in future.
All right, Bheki. Well, you pointed out a few of the driving factors like COVID crisis, the July riots, but it also seems to me that there are deep structural problems with South Africa's labor market. We're not just seeing the kind of usual cycles of the business cycle or kind of frictional unemployment where people leave work to go and find other jobs. It's actually a deeply seated structural problem. Do you care to comment on some of those underlying issues in South Africa's labor market?
Yeah, most definitely. You touched on a very significant point there, David, and that's actually something that we've been tracking quite consistently here at the CRA, in which there's a flawed way of thinking in which the current administration addresses economic issues. The South African government has moved away from growth-enhancing policies to more redistributive policies, such as the Employment Equity Act, now minimum wages, which has had a disastrous impact on labor absorption rates in the country. South Africa's labor absorption now currently sits at about 36%, which is far below emerging markets at 60%. And unfortunately, the people that pay for this are ordinary South Africans.
And what kind of policies should we be implementing to unlock job creation in South Africa, Bheki?
Well, David, what needs to be addressed is that the South African economy actually needs to see substantive economic growth levels, such that we see in other emerging markets of about 3 to 5%. And the only way to achieve that, David, is to actually strengthen property rights rather than fundamentally undermining them through policies such as EWC. So those policies need to be scrapped completely. Another sector that needs to be looked at there, David, is the labor market, looking at policies such as minimum wages, which acts as a barrier on new employment as well as for youth to upskill themselves through employment. Policies like minimum wages with a youth unemployment rate of about 77% is utterly reckless at this point. Other policies there, David, just to touch on there a little bit briefly, is race-based policies that need to be scrapped and to actually incorporate people that are actually disadvantaged in the country.
Well, Bheki, I think that those are very sensible suggestions, but it doesn't seem like the current administration is open to those kinds of policy changes. That presents, I think, a risk to South Africa. What do you think is the scale of the risk posed by our very high levels of unemployment?
David, in our latest macro review report, we highlighted the risk that a large significant proportion of South Africans, which is about 80% of people unemployed, have been unemployed for more than 1 year. This poses a significant risk as the country could then start to see an increase in violent protest action, which may be at a greater scale than the July riots, which may negatively impact sectors such as trade and manufacturing, as well as other sectors in the country.
Bheki Mahlobo, thank you very much for sharing your insights with us. Let's hand over to you, our viewers. What do you think are the main factors driving unemployment in South Africa? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. My name is David Ansara. Until next time, take care.